Welcome everybody to another episode of Get Your Geek On. It's been a while, and
Yes,
we
yes.
we're coming back slowly and surely, I say, and we
Hmm?
are here for our first review of the year.
Wow.
And shit, it's been a long time, and I just got us
Yeah.
demonetized with that one. But yeah, it's been our first review. First of all, again, I'm Aaron, and that's Robert,
Yeah.
and we're here to review the new movie, Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah. Which is Anthony Mackie's first solo movie as Captain America.
Yes.
He assumed the mantle. At the end of Endgame, he was given the shield, and then of
Mm-hmm.
course in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was kind of his journey to accepting the role. And now we have his movie.
Yeah, I mean,
So
essentially that was his origin story. And you know,
yeah.
I just want to say I went with a friend, and she didn't see Captain Falcon and Winter
Okay.
Soldier, but she
Yeah.
still got the premise of the movie. So I want to say, if you haven't seen
Yeah.
that series, you really don't need to, as long as you saw, I guess, Endgame, knowing that the shield's been passed on.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean
having that
they
extra knowledge helps, though.
They address pretty much the story beats you need from that
Yeah,
series. I mean, obviously there's elements of this that will make more sense if you're
e-
really steeped in the MCU. I mean,
exactly.
this is kind of a pseudo sequel to The Incredible Hulk,
Really is.
which is kind of crazy. But I guess let's just get into it. We are gonna start
Okay.
non-spoilers. We're gonna not get into the spoilers of the movie. We might do that a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
But initial thoughts. How did you enjoy the
I
fourth Captain America movie of the MCU? Because we're not counting the really old TV movies and the terrible '90s one and all
Oh,
that
we
good
don't
stuff.
talk
So
about those. I honestly will say, out of the movies that have had four, because we have Thor has had four, right?
yep.
Um, and he's it. I can't think of anyone else in this universe that's had
Yeah,
four.
solo
Um,
movies, it's just him. I mean, we've had obviously four Avengers movies as well,
yeah.
but yeah.
So this is my number one. Obviously, it doesn't have to beat Thor very much, but
Yeah,
the
I
bar
mean,
was kind of low for
if
Thor.
you go watch
But
our review, we were not fans of Love and Thunder, I don't
I
think.
no, neither one of us. I honestly truly enjoyed this film. It is what I expected, an espionage kind of like who's who of what's going on. Like we all know who, like at the end of the day, who the bad guy is, and when we're watching this. But again, I like that this is more in my 2 cents grounded, and I enjoyed it. But what
Yeah.
until certain spots, but overall, I really enjoyed it. What about you? You're the bigger Captain America fan than I am, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, and most of that love comes from, from the MCU and from Steve Rogers as Captain
Right.
America. I mean, I know a little bit of the comic history. I know that Sam Wilson becomes Captain
Yep.
America in the comics. And so, I liked the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. I thought it, had a little bit of messy elements to it, but I
Right.
liked the journey we went on specifically with this character. And so I've
Right.
always really liked Sam Wilson from his introduction in Winter Soldier, as the Falcon all the way through the various Avengers movies and Captain America
Mm-hmm.
movies and everything like that. And so, yeah, I mean, I liked this. It is a political thriller. It's in the vein of Winter Soldier. It's
Mm-hmm.
not at that level. I want to throw that
Oh
out there
yeah.
to begin with. Winter Soldier is one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. This one does not reach those heights, but it's kind of similar along those lines. I mean, there's a lot of political maneuvering going on.
Right.
There's, the center of this. I mean, if you've seen the trailers, you know this, so I don't think this is really a spoiler. But the center of this is an international conflict over the Celestial that, emerged in Eternals.
Right.
And, the resources that are available and who they're going to belong to and all
Oh
that stuff.
yeah.
And so there is a political element to this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, again, if you've seen trailers, Thunderbolt Ross is our newly elected president. He and Sam have a history, of course,
Mm-hmm.
that they address. That we saw that in Civil War and touched on a little bit in Infinity War as well. So there's some built-in conflict in that relationship, and uh, ultimately, I had a good time with this movie. I think it was fun. There were some moments that, kind of dragged a little bit,
Yeah, I agree.
which this is kind of a short movie. To have things that drag is not
I think
always the
it's what
best.
hour
Um,
50 or something. I can't remember
yeah, I mean,
exactly.
it clocked in under 2 hours.
Yeah.
Um, There was,
Let's see.
there were a few characters that really popped for me. But there was one in particular that I wasn't a big fan of, and so I'm interested in. I don't think I need to save that for
Interesting.
spoilers, but I'll be
Yeah.
interested to hear what your thoughts are. But yeah,
You
overall,
know,
I thought it was pretty good.
and talking on characters, because I do kind of want to rush through some of this before we get to our end. But what do you think of? I mean, of course, we did lose the actor who played Theodore Ross. He's passed away. What did you think of Harrison Ford's interpretation of this character, though?
Yeah, so I mean, Harrison Ford, one of my all-time favorite actors, and I like his portrayal of Thunderbolt Ross. The part that pulled me out of it is that it was not a continuation of the William Hurt performance. I mean, this is
Yeah.
very distinct and different,
Right.
which does feel weird as they're trying to almost recreate some of the previous story elements, and they're trying
Right.
to like, I mean, they even had like a flashback scene of him with a mustache that was trying to harken back to a particular time
Right.
with that character where it was portrayed by William Hurt. And so that kind of didn't work for me. But when we were just in our present day storytelling and we were just telling the story, I mean, Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford. He's a great actor. And
Yeah.
so I liked what he brought to the role. I just I think they tried to have their cake and eat it too, where they needed to do more of like the clean break, Don
Mhm.
Cheadle, Terrence Howard. Like, yes, it's a new actor playing the role, but we're not going to pretend like they're giving the same performance. Like, and so
Right.
I think that part didn't work as well for me, but I mean, it's Harrison Ford.
And
He's great.
I agree. I think he did a good job with what he had. I do agree with you. That same scene pulled me out. I'm
Yeah.
like, why do I don't need this mustache. I don't get it. I did like the throwaway line of lose the mustache or lose the presidency.
Yeah.
That's all I needed. I didn't
Yeah.
need the scene with him at the mustache and the general uniform. I didn't need all that. If you just left the throwaway line in, oh cool. That's why he doesn't have a mustache anymore. Cool. Moving on. I did
Yeah.
think he did a great job.
And I think that scene in particular, and again, not to get into spoilers, but that scene in particular, the tone of the character was just very different from that
Right.
era William Hurt.
Right.
And so it just like it wasn't right. Like he's playing the same tone he's playing in present day, which there's reasons for, and it
Right.
makes sense. Those reasons didn't exist at that time.
Right.
And so it just kind of that scene in particular was probably the worst scene of the movie. Like, and
I
it's short, it
yeah.
doesn't take very long, but it just was kind of like, I don't know why this scene's in the movie.
It really was weird, but again, I don't mind it. The other character I want to get his name so I say it right because I know I'm gonna butcher it. Uh, I'm still gonna, but the guy who played the one of the villains,
Giancarlo
Giancarlo
Esposito.
Esposito. Yeah,
Yeah.
how is it bad
Or
that the
some people
Mexican guy
say
can't say it?
Esposito. I don't really
That's
know
why I didn't know how
what
to say that part.
I don't know which one
Esposito.
is the correct one, but I mean, obviously people know him from Breaking Bad. He was in The Mandalorian.
Mhm. He's in
He's
Far
kind of
Cry as a voice actor and a
yeah, he's
model.
become known as a major villain, and he plays
He
this
loves
was
it.
yeah, and this was again, this is not spoilers because
No,
this was revealed
it
months
was.
ago. He's playing Sidewinder,
Mhm.
and I mean, I thought he was great. I think
Yes.
he was fulfilling the kind of same role as like Batroc the Leaper fulfilled in Winter Soldier, right?
Hmm.
Where he's kind of like a mercenary who, like Sam has a couple tussles with, but he's not like the main threat. I thought
No.
they could have used him a little bit more, actually. I think
Right.
he was kind of underutilized for me, but I really liked him, and I think that actor's great. So, what about
I
you?
I liked him. I really enjoyed it. Again, he added the human element because
Yeah.
before we get into spoiler territories, we know in the trailers we see Red Hulk. So he's going
Hmm.
to be in this. So at some point we're going to fight Red Hulk. We have our main villain in there, but again, these are the powered villains. He is
Right.
literally just a man who
Yeah.
just he's a badass assassin or whatever he is, he's a mercenary. And I
Yeah.
like the fact that again, we're back down to the human element and we're back down to just hey, he's just a good fighter. He knows how to use a gun. He knows how to do what he's doing. And I liked him. And I love the actor. I think the actor is hilarious
Yeah.
in real life too.
Well, and let's stay on that theme
Yeah.
of just a guy, because
Yeah.
that's who Sam Wilson is as Captain America.
Exactly.
And I thought that theme really came through strongly, and they hit it on a few times. They kind of revisit it several times through conversations that he's not Steve Rogers. He
Yep.
doesn't have the serum.
Nope.
He's just a guy, trying to do this. And yeah, he's got, Wakandan
Gadgets.
tech
Yeah.
suit, which they name drop. Obviously, he got that in Falcon and Winter Soldier. So again, that's one of those elements that if you watched the show, you kind of already knew that his suit was a little bit more high tech.
Right.
And so certainly, he's got elements that make him a superhero, but several
Exactly.
times in this movie, he's fighting out of the suit, right?
Right.
And
I love that.
I think that's really important because it's the themes that they have hit on multiple times in the MCU, whether it's a character like Spider-Man, if you're nothing without the suit, then you don't deserve it.
Yep.
Even Captain America, when he has that encounter in Winter Soldier, Steve Rogers, I thought you were more than just a shield, like, okay, I'll fight you without the shield then, so
Yeah.
I like that they're continuing that theme of like, these people are heroes because of who they are, not because
Right.
of the tech they have, not because of the powers they
Yes.
have. It's because of who they are. And I thought that was really strong and was portrayed really well. And I think that the theme of, Sam Wilson, which this is really excellently covered, especially in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but it comes through in this movie as well, is, the experience of a black man representing America. And
Right.
what does that mean?
Hmm.
And I thought it was really well done. Obviously, I don't have that experience,
Right.
despite the darkness of my screen.
Not
And
wrong.
it's something that I can't speak to personally, but I will say that I thought it was very well handled,
It
which I think I mean the director of this movie is a black man who I think he's Nigerian,
is it.
and I need to look up his name. I'm going to do that really quick so that I
Well, while you
make
doing
sure
that, I
we can
mean,
give it to him.
I do want to touch on that too. Again, we're in
Yeah,
an age where, one thing I hate about what's been said about this movie. Oh, we don't need, not going into politics a little bit, but why does he have to be black? All this other stuff. This is what happened in the comics. Sam Wilson
sure.
picked it
Yeah,
up in the comics.
of
Bucky
course.
was Captain America, died, it went over to Falcon, which made sense. It almost went to Hawkeye, but Hawkeye knew he didn't need it because of what happened in his past. Bucky in the MCU knows he can't be Captain America because of his past.
Right.
And that still played out. And Sam, at the end of the day, Sam is a good person. And
Yeah.
Sam is, for me, and I think one of the reasons I love this movie so much, Sam is us
Yeah.
because
He's a
he has
regular
no
guy.
superpowers.
Mhm.
He has whatever tech he can get. It's still not top of the notch tech because it's not Iron Man tech. Let's face it, it's not up there. It's Wakanda, which is cool. It's still vibranium. It's still up
Right.
there, but
The
we're not like,
Wakandans didn't give him all the bells and whistles that
yeah,
they're capable of, right?
and this,
They were like, you can have this like flying suit and it's got a couple of extra things it can
yeah,
do,
but
but
he's still
it's not what they're capable of.
exactly. And I think that's why I love this movie so far a lot. And I would love to watch it again. I probably will watch it with my kid again, but I liked it because again, we're just a man, and he has his own doubts. He has a lot of self doubt, and that reminded me of the first Captain America movie, where after he lost Bucky, we have the scene of him sitting there in the
Yeah.
chair trying to drink, but he can't get drunk because of his
Yeah.
metabolism. And I kind of like that you try to humanize him, but again, he's still a super soldier.
Yeah.
This is really Sam. Like, why am I here? Like, I'm literally almost like
Yeah.
the line from Avengers: Age of Ultron, where Hawkeye's there. I'm a guy with a bow, like, and
Right.
I'm fighting super villains. And this is Sam, but he's not fighting super villains right now. He's fighting, like, I guess I don't want to give too much away, but we're fighting the corruption that's going on.
Sure.
He's fighting a force that you really can't see yet until
Yeah.
we get to our villains.
Yeah, and the director's name is Julius Ona. Just to make sure that I get that. And I
There you
did,
go.
you mentioned it at the top of what you were just saying that Sam is a good person, right? And
Yeah.
I definitely was getting parallels to the first Captain America movie
Yes.
when Steve is still Skinny Steve. It's before the operation, and he's
Yeah.
talking to Dr. Erskine, and is why me? Why did
Oh
you
yeah.
choose me?
That.
And
Oh
it's like because you're a good man. It's not because you're a
yes.
perfect soldier, it's because you're a good man. Like
Yes.
that. And yeah, that's why Steve chose Sam, because Sam has been his running partner since Winter Soldier, right?
Hmm.
They've been through all these adventures, they went on the run, they did all these things. Like Steve knows who Sam is, and he
Yeah.
knows the person that he is. And it's not about the super soldier serum. It's not
No.
about whether you have superpowers. It's about who you are. And yeah,
And
I
that's
mean, Sam is Captain America now. Get over it if
yeah.
you're upset about it. Like
Yeah, get over it.
he
Get out
is.
of here.
At the end of this movie, it says Captain America will return. They're not talking about Steve Rogers. They're talking about Sam Wilson
Yes.
because he is Captain
He's
America.
Captain America. And I want to touch on that because you said it. Um, Sam is a good person. And he's not no need for super soldier and all this. The parallel of all of it though is what's going on with Ross,
Hmm.
and how who he is deep down.
Yeah.
Deep down, we know the screwed up stuff he's done. We've seen the movies. We go back, like you said, they have touched on it, the Edward Norton stuff. He was willing to blow up a college almost at that point to get the Hulk when he
Yeah.
fought Edward Norton. He almost got his daughter killed a couple times in that, I believe. And it's like, why? Well, because I got to get rid of the Hulk. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to create
Well, not
Abomination.
not get rid of the Hulk. He wanted the Hulk for power.
Oh,
Like
that's true. He
he
wanted
wanted
the
to
power.
capture the Hulk
Yeah,
and use him as a weapon. Like that
exactly.
was,
And
and so I think, yeah, I mean, to your point, contrasting these two individuals of Sam being a good man and Thunderbolt Ross, kind of having,
shady
this
past, let's put it.
hunger for power that
Yeah,
has never like his it's never gone away.
right.
um and the theme of, can people like that change?
Exactly.
Because I mean that is clearly like you have, and in the trailer there is a shady villain who, if you're paying attention, you know who it is, but I won't spoil it until we get
Yeah,
into spoilers.
yeah.
Who is
We're about to
pulling,
get there.
they're pulling the strings, right?
Right.
And what they're trying to do is, Ross is the president,
Yeah.
and this villain is trying to say this is not who he is. He is
Hmm.
not this guy who's going to pull the country together, who's going to, make peace with the world.
He's
Like, let me reveal who he is inside,
right.
because he is a villain. He's a bad guy, and
Right.
let me show him to you. And so that is kind of, again, very strong of who he is. And obviously you have Sam on the other side pulling and going, you don't have to be that way. You don't have to be, one locked into one thing. You can
Yeah.
always choose to be a better person. And so I think that,
Which th-
it's just very, you want to say, like, hokey and
it's
wholesome, and it is a little bit at times. It's heavy-handed, and I want to talk in spoilers specifically about a
yeah.
particular scene where it is a little bit heavy-handed in how it's being like, you can be better, you can do great,
Yeah.
like those kinds of things. But guess what, that's Captain America. I mean,
Yeah.
like Captain America's always given speeches about how, you can choose to stand up to Hydra, you could choose, like, that's
Yeah.
Captain America, that's what he does. And so this Captain America,
Exactly.
he gives speeches too, telling people they can be better, telling people they can make better choices. And, like, it's Captain
Exactly.
America. I love it.
And I love again how we talked about it earlier. The parallels to the first Captain America, like you said, he's not going to bring people together. Ross isn't this kind of person. He's not the person and something even Steve says in Avengers, Iron Man's not the person to throw himself on the grenade or cut the wires and all that stuff. But it's kind of reminiscing to that because it's like, yeah, Ross wouldn't do all that. He'd send someone else to go do it instead because, oh, that guy's dead. That's fine. I still got to do what I got to do to get power, And again, we're going to start going to spoilers soon, but I enjoyed the parallels of this film. I enjoyed that even Sam, even though he's Sam and he does it his own way, he is Captain America.
Yeah.
Because the Captain America, like you said, is about the speeches, is about trying to rally people behind a cause and just reminding people, hey, it's okay that you screwed up. We can change.
Yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
feel that that's something that's not just a Steve trait, it's a Captain America trait.
100%. And there's a part of this movie where, uh, where Captain America basically says, like, doing the right thing only matters if you're doing it when it's hard. Like,
Exactly. Yes.
when it's the hard choice, that's when it matters, and you
Yes.
have to make the right choice. And I mean, like, that is Captain America. It's like, It's Civil War. It's him going,
Yeah,
this is not the right choice. And this is hard. I don't want to break up the Avengers. I don't want to but this is not the right choice. And so I have to do what's right.
exactly.
And so yeah,
So
that is Sam, that is Captain America. Let's give scores and go to
yeah, I was about
spoilers.
to say that. So you go first because I want to make a comment when I make mine. So you go first, sir. What do you
All right.
score in this out of the 10?
You've heard me, all the things I've said before. I'm gonna give it 7. 7 out of 10.
Yep.
Easy peasy. Go ahead.
I'm right there with you. I was gonna say maybe 7.5. Just to be different, I'll say 7.5. But I think this was a solid film, and I will not
Yeah.
lie. This is probably the first one I've watched. What that we've probably watching. I'm not gonna count Deadpool and Wolverine because they're good.
Okay.
That one's its own thing to me.
All right.
This is probably the first one I've watched where there comes to TV shows or movies that I have liked in a while. Because I didn't really care for heck, I mean counting the what if. I didn't even watch the second season because the first one was good
You
and
mean
the
the third season?
third season, right? Sorry, I haven't even watched
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Agatha all along. I will say I missed that one. I need to
Me
watch
too.
it.
It was
But
good.
Loki was the other good season. But what was the other one that just kind of crapped out? I forgot what it was. But this
Yeah, I
is the one
mean,
that's made me.
Secret Invasion was
That's the
bad.
one. There you go. I try to forget that.
I mean, I've liked
Again,
the other stuff that's been coming out, like the Marvels was pretty good.
yeah, Marvels was pretty
I
good.
enjoyed that.
But this one,
Uh,
I don't know. I liked it more.
yeah,
It
it,
hit something that those movies and shows missed, and I
yeah. I
hope
mean,
they come back to it.
I think part of it is that this is a character that we've known since
Yeah.
2014. I think is
Gosh,
when he
has it been
came. I
that
think that's
long?
when Winter Soldier came out, and we've had a
Gosh.
bunch of appearances of him, and so I think that is the one thing is that Marvel has been introducing so many new characters, and like these are good characters, and they're characters that we're going to build for, but we don't have those emotional ties that we do to some of these
Like Sam, yeah.
older characters that we've had for a while. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely agree. Like it hit me and it hit me good. I
Yes.
enjoyed the movie, and we'll see as we rewatch. Sometimes when you rewatch a movie, the things you really like about it make it better, and sometimes the things you're like, make it worse. And so, we'll see. But
Yeah,
there you
exactly.
go.
I just want to quick. We also didn't really talk about what's his name, Danny Ramirez's character, Torres.
Yeah,
We didn't talk about him real quick.
yeah,
Want to just comment this? He's amazing in that film. I
I
love
agree.
his one-liners. I love some of his jokes, and I love that character now.
Yeah, he was very funny. We did get him in Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's
Yep.
where we got introduced to him, and so we're building on that relationship. This is a guy, that he and Sam have worked together. I think they drop it like it's been 3 years that they've been
Yeah,
working together. Yeah, he is totally fun.
I loved
He
him.
is a great addition, and I'm a big fan of him. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of him
Same.
as the Falcon.